I'll ask you one more time, Emma. Will you marry me or will I foreclose on your house in the next 60 seconds? Emma's world exploded. The man in the black suit wasn't joking. Behind him, four armed men blocked every exit. Her phone buzzed a text from Greg's number. I'm sorry, I had no choice. Run. But she couldn't run. Not with Lily crying beside her, not with 83 guests staring, not with this stranger holding documents that proved Greg had gambled away everything: her house, her future, her dignity. The church doors were open, but freedom was an illusion. Alexander Volkov smiled cold as winter. Tick-tock, Emma. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button right now because this story takes turns you won't believe. And comment your city below. I want to see how far Emma's nightmare has traveled. Trust me, you need to stay until the end. Now let's go back to where it all fell apart. 3 hours earlier, Emma had believed in miracles. She'd stood in the church bathroom adjusting her secondhand wedding dress for the 100th time, telling herself that everything was going to be okay. Greg was going to show up. They were going to get married. Lily was finally going to have a father who stayed. You're shaking, Jessica had said, touching Emma's shoulder. It's just nerves. Every bride gets them. But it wasn't nerves. It was the text message Emma had received at 6 a.m. that morning. 7 words that had made her blood run cold. We need to talk before the wedding. Greg hadn't answered when she'd called back. 17 times. He'd gone radio silent, and Emma had spent the next 4 hours oscillating between panic and forced optimism, convinced he was just having cold feet, that he'd show up, that he wouldn't abandon her in front of everyone they knew. She'd been wrong. Now standing at the altar with mascara running down her face and her daughter asking where Daddy Greg went, Emma understood that she'd been wrong about everything. The guest whispers were getting louder. Carol was halfway out of her pew about to come rescue her. Father Thomas had his phone out, probably calling someone. And Emma just stood there frozen, holding wilted roses and the shattered pieces of her pride. That was when the church doors slammed open. The sound was like a gunshot. Every head turned, every voice went silent. 4 men entered first, moving with military precision. Black suits, earpieces, the kind of presence that screamed danger. They positioned themselves at strategic points, 2 by the doors, 2 along the side aisles. No one was leaving. Then he walked in. Alexander Volkov moved like a predator through sheep. His suit probably cost more than Emma made in 6 months. His shoes clicked against the marble floor with rhythmic certainty. And his face, God, his face was the kind of handsome that made you forget to breathe, all sharp angles and cold eyes that missed nothing. He stopped at the altar, looked at Emma, smiled. Hello, Emma. We haven't met, but your fiancé and I are very well acquainted. Emma's throat closed. Who are you? The man holding the deed to your future. He pulled a folded document from his jacket. Greg Thornton borrowed $270,000 from my organization over 18 months. He used your house as collateral. He forged your signature on 6 separate loan agreements. And approximately, he checked his watch. 3 hours ago, he withdrew everything from your joint account and disappeared. The world tilted. Emma grabbed the altar rail to stay upright. You're lying. Am I? Alexander held out his phone. The screen showed her bank account. Balance $0. Call your bank if you don't believe me, or better yet, call Greg. Oh, wait, you can't. He blocked your number. Emma's fingers trembled as she took the phone. She tried calling. The number you have dialed is no longer in service. She tried the bank app. Access denied. She tried texting Greg's mother, his brother, anyone. He warned them you'd try to contact them, Alexander said. They've been instructed not to respond. Very thorough, your Greg. I almost admire it. Mommy, Lily tugged on Emma's dress. What's happening? Emma looked down at her daughter, 7 years old, innocent, terrified, wearing the flower girl dress Emma had sewn by hand because they couldn't afford to buy one. Baby, go sit with Aunt Carol for a minute, okay? But now, Lily, please. Carol rushed forward, scooping Lily up, shooting Emma a look that said, call the police, run, do something. But Emma couldn't move, couldn't think, couldn't process the scope of Greg's betrayal fast enough to formulate a response. Alexander stepped closer, close enough that Emma could smell his cologne, expensive, understated burr, utterly wrong for a church. You're wondering why I'm here instead of going through legal channels. Good question. The answer is simple: legal channels take time. I don't like waiting, and more importantly, You have something I need. I have nothing, Emma whispered. You just told me I have nothing. Wrong, you have this. He gestured around the church. A ceremony, guests, a minister, everything required for a wedding, just missing a groom. I'm proposing we fix that problem. The implication hit Emma like cold water. You're insane. I'm practical. You need money. You need security. You need someone to make Greg's debt disappear before it destroys your credit, your home, and any chance your daughter has at a stable future. I need a wife for business purposes. Someone presentable, intelligent enough to handle social situations, and most importantly, someone who understands this is a transaction, not a romance. Emma stared at him. You want me to marry you? Right now, a complete stranger. Yes. Why would I ever? Because in 45 seconds, I'm going to make a phone call and my lawyers will begin foreclosure proceedings on your house. You'll be evicted within 72 hours. Your daughter will be homeless. And every future landlord will see the eviction on your record and reject your application. You'll be living in your car, which according to my research won't start without a jump within a week. The cruelty of his accuracy was breathtaking. He knew about her car, probably knew about her maxed out credit cards, probably knew she had exactly $47 in her wallet and a dozen past due notices shoved in her kitchen drawer. This is blackmail, Emma said. This is business, and you're running out of time. Father Thomas finally found his spine. Young man, I will not perform a wedding under duress. One of Alexander's men moved toward the minister, didn't touch him, didn't threaten him, just moved. Father Thomas went pale and shut his mouth. 30 seconds, Alexander said to Emma. Emma's mind raced. There had to be another way. There had to be. But there wasn't. She'd spent 7 years looking for other ways, working 3 jobs, stretching every dollar, living on hope and determination, and the belief that if she just worked hard enough, sacrificed enough, she could build a safe life for Lily. Greg had burned it all down in less than a day. I want conditions, Emma heard herself say. Alexander's eyebrow lifted. You're negotiating. You're asking me to marry you. Damn right I'm negotiating. Emma's fear was hardening into something sharper. Anger. Cold, clarifying anger. Lily is completely off limits. She goes to her same school, keeps her same friends' lives as normal a life as possible. You don't discipline her. You don't make decisions about her. You don't interfere with how I raise her. Agreed. I want a separate bedroom. This is business, you said, so we keep it business. Already planned for it. And I want a contract. Everything in writing. How long this arrangement lasts, what happens if either of us wants out financial arrangements, all of it. Legally binding. Alexander smiled, actually smiled. You're smarter than Greg gave you credit for. He told me you were naive, pliable. Clearly he didn't know you at all. The mention of Greg sent fresh rage through Emma's veins. Do we have a deal or not? We have a deal. Alexander extended his hand. My lawyer will have the contract ready by tomorrow morning. You'll have 48 hours to review it with your own legal counsel if you choose. Emma didn't take his hand. One more thing. What happened to Greg? Where is he? Do you really want to know? Emma thought about it. About Greg's promises, his lies, the way he'd held Lily and called her my little princess while secretly destroying their lives. The way he'd kissed Emma last night and told her he couldn't wait to start their future together. No, Emma said finally. I don't want to know. I want him erased from our lives like he never existed. That Alexander said I can definitely arrange. He turned to Father Thomas. Begin the ceremony. Skip the preamble. Just the vows and pronouncement. Father Thomas looked at Emma, really looked at her. Are you sure, child? Was she sure? No. Was she out of options? Yes. I'm sure. The minister opened his Bible with shaking hands. Do you, my Abbe? Wait, someone shouted from the back. Emma's heart stopped. For one wild moment, she thought Greg had come back, that this nightmare was about to end. But it wasn't Greg. It was Marcus, Greg's best friend, running down the aisle, phone in hand. Emma, don't do this. I just got a call. Greg's been arrested. He's at the county jail. They're saying he... Marcus stopped short as one of Alexander's men blocked his path. Arrested, Emma repeated. Alexander checked his phone casually. That's earlier than expected. My contacts at the police station must have been efficient. Greg's been wanted for wire fraud in 3 states. I simply provided the authorities with his location. You knew where he was? Emma's voice rose. This whole time you knew where he was. Of course. I needed him out of the picture cleanly. Legal trouble seemed most efficient. Alexander pocketed his phone and he'll be fighting extradition and fraud charges for the next 2 years minimum, which means he's not your problem anymore. I am. The audacity, the sheer breathtaking audacity of this man. You're a monster, Emma breathed. I'm a businessman. There's a difference. Alexander gestured to Father Thomas. Continue. Marcus tried to push past the security. Emma, listen to me. I'm sorry, Marcus. Emma cut him off. She was surprised by how steady her voice was. But I'm making a choice for Lily, for me, and I need you to respect that. Emma, please. Marcus stared at her, then at Alexander, then back at her. Emma saw the moment he understood. Saw him realize she wasn't being coerced by force, she was being coerced by circumstance, which was so much worse because there was nothing he could do to save her. He stepped back, nodded once, left the church. The doors closed behind him with a hollow boom. Vows, Alexander said to Father Thomas. Now, do you, Emma Catherine Price, take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband? I do. Emma's voice didn't waver. If she was doing this, she was doing it with her eyes open. And do you, Alexander Mikhail Volkov? I do. Then by the power, Alexander didn't wait. He stepped forward, cupped Emma's face with both hands and kissed her. It was nothing like she'd imagined her wedding kiss would be. It was possessive, enclaiming, and entirely calculated. His mouth was firm and warm and tasted like expensive scotch. The kiss lasted exactly long enough to be believable. Then he pulled back, his gray eyes locked on hers. You're mine now, he said quietly, only for her ears. That means you're protected. No one touches you, no one threatens you, no one makes you feel small ever again. Remember that. Emma's breath caught. Was that supposed to be comforting because it sounded like another prison, just with better furniture? Get your daughter, Alexander said louder now. We're leaving. The next 20 minutes were a blur. Emma collected Lily from Carol, who was crying and begging her not to go. Jessica grabbed Emma's arm, whispering frantic questions. Other guests surrounded them, some angry, some confused, all of them making Emma feel like an animal in a zoo. Alexander's men created a path through the chaos. Alexander himself walked beside Emma, his hand on her lower back, proprietary, possessive, a clear signal to everyone watching that she was under his protection now, or his control. Emma wasn't sure there was a difference. Outside, 3 black SUVs waited in formation. The middle one's door opened automatically. Emma climbed in with Lily and Alexander followed. The door closed, sealing them in tinted window privacy. Where are we going? Lily asked in a small, frightened voice. Home, Alexander said. Then to Emma, your things from the old house will be collected and moved tomorrow. Anything you want kept, make a list. Anything you want destroyed, make that list too. Destroyed, photographs of Greg, gifts, memories you'd rather not carry forward. I find clean breaks heal faster. Emma held Lily closer. How very thoughtful of you. I'm being practical, not thoughtful. Alexander was typing on his phone. Mrs. Chen has prepared rooms for you and Lily. Dinner is at 7, breakfast at 8. I prefer punctuality. What happens if I'm late? Alexander looked up. Then you're late, Amamas. I won't punish you for tardiness, Emma. I'm not a tyrant. But I will expect you to maintain certain standards when we're in public or have guests. And when we're not in public, then you can do whatever you want as long as you stay out of my office and bedroom. So I'm a prisoner with freedom of movement. How progressive. You're a wife with a contractual arrangement. Learn the difference. The SUV turned onto a highway. Emma watched her old neighborhood disappear through the tinted window. Every familiar landmark, the grocery store where she'd used coupons religiously, the park where Lily played the library, where they'd spent countless Saturday afternoons because it was free, all of it slipping away into her past. I want to call my aunt, Emma said. No, Emma's head whipped around. Excuse me, not today. Today you disappear. Tomorrow when you're calmer and thinking clearly you can call her. Today you're too emotional and emotional people say things they regret. Give yourself 24 hours. You don't get to tell me when I can contact my family. Actually, according to the contract you'll sign tomorrow, I have considerable say in security matters. Your aunt is cleared. Your friend Jessica is cleared. but contact is monitored and regulated, especially in the first month while you adjust. Emma's jaw clenched. Monitored. I have enemies, Emma. Real ones, dangerous ones. Anyone close to me becomes a target. That includes you now. That includes Lily. So yes, communications are monitored for your protection. How convenient that your protection looks exactly like control. Most protection does. They drove in silence after that. Lily fell asleep against Emma's side, exhausted by confusion and fear. Emma stroked her daughter's hair and tried not to think about how catastrophically her life had changed in less than 4 hours. The estates got larger as they drove. Gates appeared, long driveways disappeared into tree-lined privacy. Money here wasn't just money, it was insulation from the real-world layers of security and space between the wealthy and everyone else. Alexander's estate was at the end of a private road. The gate opened automatically, responding to the SUV's approach. Beyond it, the house rose like something from a magazine, all glass and steel and modern architecture that screamed money and power. This is where you live. The words escaped before Emma could stop them. Where we live, Alexander corrected. Precision matters, Emma. Words matter. You're not a guest. You're family now. Family. The word was absurd. They weren't family. They were strangers bound by a contract and desperation. The SUV stopped at the front entrance. Alexander exited first, then reached back. Give me your daughter. You can't carry her in that dress. Emma's instinct was to refuse. But Lily was heavy and the dress was cumbersome, and sometimes survival meant accepting help even from the devil. She let Alexander take Lily. He lifted her carefully, supporting her head, handling her with unexpected gentleness. Lily didn't wake, just curled against his shoulder. The image was surreal. This dangerous man holding her sleeping child like it was the most natural thing in the world. Emma climbed out her dress, catching on everything. By the time she made it to the front steps, she was exhausted and sweating and on the verge of screaming. The front door opened. A woman appeared, 50s Asian, impeccably dressed, with eyes that assessed Emma in a single sweep. Mrs. Chen, Alexander said. My wife, Emma. Her daughter, Lily. Welcome, Mrs. Volkov. The name sounded wrong in someone else's voice. Mrs. Chen's expression gave away nothing. Your rooms are prepared. Shall I take the child? I'll carry her, Alexander said. Show Emma the suite. They entered the house. Emma had a confused impression of space and light and expensive everything before they were climbing stairs and walking down a hallway that seemed to stretch forever. Mrs. Chen opened double doors. The master suite. Your bathroom through there. The child's room connects here. Clothing has been provided in standard sizes. If anything doesn't fit, let me know by morning and I'll have corrections made. Emma walked into the room. It was huge. Obscenely huge. The bed alone was larger than the bedroom she and Lily had shared in their old apartment. Alexander carried Lily to the connecting room and laid her on a bed that looked fit for a princess. Lily mumbled something in her sleep but didn't wake. He pulled a blanket over her, then stepped back. She'll need her stuffed rabbit, Emma said. The yellow one. She can't sleep without it. It's already here. Alexander gestured to the nightstand. There, sitting next to the lamp, was Lily's beloved rabbit. The one Emma had sewn from scraps when Lily was 3. The one that had been through the wash 100 times and was missing an eye. How did you? I told you, I'm thorough. Alexander moved past her, back into the master suite. Rest. We'll talk contracts tomorrow. Tonight, just adjust. He left before Emma could respond. Mrs. Chen lingered in the doorway. Dinner at 7, casual dress. Mr. Volkov prefers family meals when possible, but if you're too tired tonight, I can bring trays up. We'll come down, Emma heard herself say. She needed to see more of this place, needed to understand her cage. Mrs. Chen nodded and left, closing the doors behind her. Emma stood in the center of the massive room and finally let herself feel it. The shock, the fear, the rage at Greg, the horror at what she'd just done. She'd married a stranger, a criminal probably, definitely someone dangerous. And she'd done it in front of everyone she knew. She'd done it wearing a dress she'd bought for a different wedding, a different future, a different dream. She'd done it because she had no choice. Emma walked to the bathroom and stared at herself in the mirror. Mascara tracks down her cheeks, lipstick smudged, hair falling out of its careful updo. She looked like exactly what she was, a woman whose life had detonated. She turned on the shower. peeled off the wedding dress, stood under water that was blessedly perfectly hot, and cried until she had nothing left. When she finally emerged wrapped in a towel that was softer than anything she'd ever owned, she found that someone had laid out clothes on the bed. Jeans, a soft sweater, undergarments that were exactly her size, shoes that fit perfectly. Of course they did. Alexander was thorough. Emma dressed mechanically, checked on Lily, who was still sleeping, sat on the edge of the massive bed and tried to formulate a plan. She had none. No plan, no strategy, just survival instinct and the fierce determination to protect her daughter from the worst of this. At 6:45, she woke Lily gently. "Baby, we need to get ready for dinner." Lily's eyes opened. "Where are we?" "Our new house, remember?" Lily's face crumpled. "I want to go home." "I know, baby, but this is home now." Emma pulled her daughter close. "I know it's scary. I'm scared too. But we're together and that's what matters, okay? As long as we're together, we're going to be fine." Lies upon lies. But what else could she tell a 7-year-old? She found clothes for Lily in the connecting room's closet. All new, all expensive, all exactly Lily's size. They dressed together in silence. At 6:58, Mrs. Chen knocked. "Ready?" Emma took Lily's hand. "Ready." They followed Mrs. Chen downstairs through hallways lined with art that probably cost more than Emma's old house. The dining room was formal and intimidating, with a table that could seat 12. Alexander was already there, changed into casual clothes that still looked expensive. He sat at the head of the table scrolling through his phone. He looked up when they entered. "Sit." Emma helped Lily into a chair, then sat beside her. The table was set with china and crystal. Everything gleamed under the chandelier's light. Food appeared brought by Mrs. Chen and a younger woman Emma hadn't met. Roasted chicken, vegetables, bread, more food than Emma usually ate in 3 days. "Eat," Alexander said. No one moved. Alexander's jaw tightened. "I'm not going to poison you, Emma, and your daughter needs to eat, so put food on her plate and encourage her to try it." Emma's hand shook as she served Lily. Cut the chicken into small bites. Put vegetables on the plate. Lily stared at the food like it might attack her. "It's okay, baby," Emma said softly. "Try some, please." Lily took a tiny bite of chicken, chewed, swallowed, took another bite. Slowly she began eating. Emma forced herself to eat too. The food was delicious, perfectly seasoned restaurant quality. She tasted none of it. "Tomorrow," Alexander said, breaking the silence. "My lawyer arrives at 9 a.m. You'll review the contract, ask questions, make objections if you have them. Some terms are negotiable, some aren't." "Which ones aren't?" Emma asked. "The duration. 5 years minimum. The fidelity clause. I expect absolute discretion and I provide the same. And the public appearances. There will be events, business dinners, charity galas, family gatherings. You'll attend as my wife. You'll be polite, charming, and convincing. And if I'm not convincing, then you'll learn to be." Alexander's eyes met hers. "I'm not asking you to love me, Emma. I'm asking you to be professional. Can you do that?" Emma thought about every customer who'd grabbed her ass while she was waitressing. Every boss who'd made comments about her body. Every man who treated her like she was lucky they were paying attention to her. She'd smiled through all of it because she needed the tips, needed the paid, needed to survive. This was just another performance. "I can do that," she said. Good." Alexander returned to his meal. "School starts Monday for Lily. Mrs. Chen has the enrollment materials. You'll need to review them tonight." "Monday," Emma's head snapped up. "That's 3 days from now. She needs time to." She needs normalcy, structure. Sitting around this house feeling sorry for herself won't help her adjust. School will. "You don't get to make that decision." "Actually, I do. She's living under my roof, eating my food, protected by my security. That gives me say in what's best for this household." Alexander's voice didn't rise, but it hardened. "You wanted her to have a better life, Emma. Better schools, better opportunities. This is how that happens." Emma bit back her response. He was right. She hated that he was right. They finished dinner in tense silence. Lily ate most of her food, which was more than Emma had expected. When they were done, Mrs. Chen appeared to clear the plates. "Dessert?" she asked. "No, thank you," Emma said quickly. She needed to get out of this room away from Alexander's suffocating presence. "Ice cream," Lily whispered. "Can I have ice cream?" Mrs. Chen looked at Alexander. All now, Moscow. He nodded. She disappeared and returned with a bowl of vanilla ice cream that made Lily's eyes light up for the first time all day. Emma watched her daughter eat ice cream in a stranger's house and felt something crack inside her chest. This was her life now, eggshells and performances and pretending this was normal. When Lily finished, Emma stood. We should get ready for bed. Story time is at 8:30, Alexander said. I'll read to Lily tonight. Every muscle in Emma's body tensed. No, it's not a request. I said no. Emma's voice was steel. You can control a lot of things. You can dictate where we live and what school she attends and when we eat dinner. But you don't get story time. That's ours. That's mine and hers, and you don't get to take it. Alexander stared at her. The room felt charged, dangerous. Emma prepared herself for a fight. Instead, Alexander nodded. Understood. Story time remains yours. Emma blinked. Lee, I told you I'm not a tyrant. Some boundaries matter. That's clearly one of them. Alexander stood. I have work to do. Good night, Lily. Lily pressed herself against Emma's side, not responding. Alexander's mouth tightened, but he didn't push. He just left the room. Emma released a breath. Come on, baby. Let's go upstairs. They went back to their suite. Emma helped Lily brush her teeth, change into pajamas that someone had thoughtfully provided. They curled up together in Emma's enormous bed, with Lily's rabbit tucked between them. Tell me a story, Lily said. Not from a book, one from your head. Emma stroked her daughter's hair. Once upon a time, there was a brave little girl who had to move to a new castle. She made up a story about princesses and magic, and finding strength in scary situations. Lily listened with wide eyes, interrupting occasionally with questions. Slowly, her eyelids grew heavy. Mommy, Lily mumbled as sleep claimed her. Are we going to be okay? Emma kissed her forehead. Yes, baby, we're going to be okay, I promise. Another lie, but this one she intended to make true whatever it took. After Lily fell asleep, Emma couldn't sleep. She wandered the suite, exploring. The closet was stocked with designer clothes, dresses, pants, blouses, all in her size. Shoes lined the bottom shelves. Jewelry sat in velvet boxes on a center island. This was her prison. Beautiful, comfortable, utterly controlled. Emma found herself at the massive windows overlooking the grounds. Security lights illuminated pathways and gardens. In the distance, she could see the wall that surrounded the property. High, topped with something, cameras probably. Maybe more. Her phone buzzed. She pulled it from her pocket, surprised she still had it. Jessica, Emma, please tell me you're safe. Carol, call me. Please, I'm terrified for you. Marcus, Greg's lawyer, called. He wants to talk to you. Should I give him your number? Emma stared at that last message. Greg wanted to talk. Of course he did. Now that he was in jail, now that his plan had fallen apart, now he wanted to explain or apologize or manipulate her into helping him. She blocked his lawyer's number, blocked Greg's family, sent brief texts to Jessica and Carol. I'm safe, need time, we'll call soon. Then she turned off her phone. She didn't belong to Greg anymore. She didn't belong to her old life. For better or worse, she belonged to this place now, to Alexander Volkov and his contract in his world that she didn't understand. Emma returned to bed, curling around Lily's sleeping form. Tomorrow would bring contracts and lawyers and more impossible decisions. Tonight, she just needed to hold her daughter and pretend the world wasn't burning down around them. But sleep wouldn't come. Emma lay in the darkness listening to Lily's breathing and wondered what the hell she'd just done, and more importantly, how the hell she was going to survive it. Emma woke to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows in a moment of pure disorientation before reality crashed back. The wedding, Alexander, the contract, her entire life dismantled and rebuilt in 4 hours. Lily was still asleep beside her, curled into a tight ball, with her rabbit clutched to her chest. Emma slipped out of bed carefully, not wanting to wake her. The clock on the nightstand read 7:23 a.m., 37 minutes until breakfast. She found the bathroom and stared at herself in the mirror. Dark circles under her eyes, hair a mess, the face of a woman who'd slept maybe 2 hours and spent the rest of the night staring at the ceiling, trying to process the impossible. The shower had 17 settings. Emma chose the hottest one and stood under the spray until her skin turned pink and her thoughts cleared enough to function. When she emerged wrapped in a towel that probably cost more than her monthly grocery budget used to be, She found clothes laid out on the bed again. Dark jeans, a cream-colored sweater, undergarments. Someone had been in the room while she showered. Someone had been that close to Lily. Emma's hands shook as she dressed. This was her life now. No privacy, no control, just constant surveillance masked as service. She woke Lily gently at 7:50. Her daughter's eyes opened slowly, then widened with confusion before the previous day's memories clearly returned. Her face crumpled. "I know, baby," Emma whispered, pulling her close. "I know this is hard, but we need to get dressed and go down for breakfast, okay? Can you be brave for me?" Lily nodded against her shoulder. "Will he be there?" She didn't need to specify who he was. Probably, but remember, he can't hurt us. He's helping us in his way. We just need to be polite. More lies. Emma was building a tower of them, each one stacked on the last, and sooner or later the whole thing would collapse. They dressed together. Emma found Lily's clothes already laid out too, jeans, a soft purple shirt, new shoes that actually fit properly. Everything coordinated, everything perfect, everything chosen by someone else. At exactly 8 a.m., Mrs. Chen knocked. "Punctual," Emma muttered. "Mr. Volkov appreciates timeliness," Mrs. Chen said as they followed her downstairs. "It's one of his few inflexible requirements." "What are the others?" Emma asked. Mrs. Chen glanced back. Honesty, discretion, and never ever entering his office without permission. The dining room looked different in daylight, less intimidating, but no more welcoming. Alexander was already seated reading something on a tablet, a cup of coffee beside him. He looked up when they entered. "Good morning." His tone was neutral, professional, like this was a business meeting, not breakfast with his new family. "Morning," Emma managed. Lily said nothing, pressing herself against Emma's leg. They sat. Food appeared immediately, eggs, bacon, toast, fruit, orange juice for Lily. The spread was absurd for 3 people. "Eat," Alexander said, not looking up from his tablet. "The lawyer arrives in 53 minutes. Emma served Lily, then herself. The food was excellent. She barely tasted it. "I have a question," Emma said. "Then ask it." "How did you know my clothing sizes, Lily's sizes? How did you have everything ready before I even agreed?" Alexander set down his tablet. "I told you, I prepare for all outcomes. The moment Greg borrowed his first dollar from me, I began collecting information on everyone connected to him, including you, height, weight, clothing, preferences, shoe size, dietary restrictions, medical history, employment records, credit score, parking tickets from 2019. I have comprehensive files on everyone in my sphere." Emma's stomach turned. "That's thorough, I know." He took a sip of coffee. "Also necessary, I don't make uninformed decisions. Ever." "So this was always your plan? Force me to marry you?" "Force is a harsh word. I presented an option. You chose it freely." "Freely?" Emma's laugh was bitter. "You threatened to make my daughter homeless. I presented the consequences of inaction. There's a difference." Alexander's gray eyes met hers. "Greg created this situation, not me. I simply offered you a solution that served both our interests. That's not force. That's opportunity." "You're delusional if you think, Mommy." Lily's small voice cut through the tension. "Can I have more juice?" Emma poured juice with shaking hands, forcing herself to breathe. Fighting with Alexander in front of Lily helped no one. She needed to be smarter, more strategic. They finished breakfast in loaded silence. At 8:47, Mrs. Chen appeared. "Mr. Shaw has arrived." "Show him to my office," Alexander said. He stood buttoning his suit jacket. To Emma, 5 minutes, come alone. He left before she could argue. Emma kissed Lily's forehead. "Stay with Mrs. Chen for a bit. Okay, I need to take care of some grown-up business." "Will you come back?" The question broke Emma's heart. "Of course, baby. I'll always come back to you. Always." Mrs. Chen extended a hand to Lily. "Would you like to see the library? There are books. And a cat who lives there named Dostoevsky." Lily's eyes widened. "A cat. Very spoiled, very friendly. Come." Emma watched them leave, then followed Mrs. Chen's directions to Alexander's office. The door was heavy oak closed. She knocked. "Enter." The office was exactly what she'd expected. Dark wood floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, massive desk windows overlooking the grounds. Alexander stood by those windows. Another man sat in one of the leather chairs facing the desk. "Emma, this is Richard Shaw, My lawyer and advisor for the past 12 years. Shaw stood. He was 50s, gray-haired, expensive suit, calculating eyes. Mrs. Volkov, a pleasure. The name sent a chill down Emma's spine. Mrs. Volkov, that was her now. Sit, Alexander gestured to the chair beside Shaw's. Emma sat. Shaw opened a briefcase and pulled out a thick document. The marriage contract, he said. I'll walk you through each section. Stop me anytime you have questions. The contract was 37 pages. 37 pages detailing every aspect of their arrangement. Duration 5 years, renewable by mutual consent. Living arrangements, Emma and Lily would reside in the main house with full access to all facilities except Alexander's private office and bedroom. Financial terms, Emma would receive a monthly allowance of $15,000 and for personal expenses separate from household accounts. Lily's education, medical care, and general expenses would be covered entirely. $15,000, Emma interrupted. That's more than I made in 3 months at my old job. You're my wife now, Alexander said from the window. You represent me in public. That requires certain standards of dress, grooming, lifestyle. $15,000 is reasonable. Reasonable. Emma had lived on $18,000 a year. $15,000 a month was incomprehensible. Shaw continued. Fidelity clause, both parties agreed to absolute discretion. No extramarital affairs, no public scandals, no behavior that would damage either party's reputation. Termination clause. The contract could be ended early only by mutual consent or by proven breach of terms. If Emma breached, she forfeited all financial benefits and returned to her pre-marriage financial state, meaning homeless and in debt. If Alexander breached, Emma received a lump sum of $5 million and full custody of Lily with no visitation rights for Alexander. $5 million, Emma's voice cracked. Incentive for me to honor the agreement, Alexander said. I don't make promises I don't intend to keep. The rest covered public appearances, estimated at 8 to 12 events per year, with Emma required to attend as Alexander's wife, properly dressed and behaving appropriately. Social media usage restricted with all posts subject to review. Contact with Emma's previous life permitted but monitored for security purposes. And Lily, an entire section dedicated to her care, education, and protection, with Emma maintaining primary parental authority, but Alexander having input on major decisions affecting household security. Shaw reached the final page. Your signature here indicates you've read, understood, and agreed to all terms. You have the right to consult your own attorney before signing. Mr. Volkov has generously offered to cover those legal fees. How generous, Emma said. Alexander finally turned from the window. Take the contract, read it thoroughly. Come back this afternoon with questions or objections. Some terms are negotiable. Which ones? Try me and find out. Emma took the document. It was heavy, literally and figuratively. Can I ask you something? You just did, but ask another. Why 5 years? Why not 2 or 10? Why that specific number? Alexander's expression didn't change. 5 years is long enough to serve my purposes and short enough to not be completely unreasonable for you. It's a compromise. What purposes? That's not your concern. I'm signing a contract binding myself to you for 5 years. It's absolutely my concern. Shaw cleared his throat. Mrs. Volkov, perhaps? No, Emma cut him off, keeping her eyes on Alexander. I want an answer. What do you get out of this? And don't say a wife for business purposes. That's not enough. Rich men hire escorts for business events. You didn't need to marry me for appearances. So what is this really about? The silence stretched. Shaw looked uncomfortable. Alexander looked impressed. My father, Alexander said finally, has very specific ideas about family and legacy. He's 78 in declining health and desperate to see me settled before he dies. He's threatened to restructure his will if I don't marry and produce an heir within 5 years. I have no interest in romance or love, but I do have interest in my inheritance and maintaining control of the family business. You solve that problem. Emma's mouth went dry. An heir, not your concern. That clause was removed from the contract. But you just said, I said my father wants an heir. I didn't say I agreed to provide one. 5 years buys me time to find another solution. Or for him to die and make the entire issue moot. Alexander's voice was cold, transactional. Does that answer satisfy you? It didn't. It raised 1,000 more questions. But Emma could see in his face that she'd get nothing else right now. I need to check on Lily, she said, standing. Mrs. Chen has her well in hand. But yes, go. Alexander returned to his desk. We'll discuss your questions this afternoon. 3 p.m. this office. Emma left clutching the contract like a lifeline, or a noose. She wasn't sure which. She found Lily in the library, a room that looked like something from a movie with 2 stories of books in a spiral staircase and windows that let in golden morning light. Lily sat on the floor playing with an enormous gray cat while Mrs. Chen watched from a nearby chair. Mommy, Lily's face lit up. His name is Dostoevsky and he's 12 years old, and he only has 3 legs, but he can still jump really high. The cat, indeed missing its left front leg, purred loudly as Lily scratched behind its ears. He's beautiful, Emma said, sinking down beside her daughter. The normalcy of the moment, a child playing with a cat, felt surreal in this surreal house. Mr. Volkov rescued him from a shelter, Mrs. Chen said. 8 years ago, the cat was scheduled to be euthanized because of the missing leg. Mr. Volkov paid for surgery and rehabilitation. Now Dostoevsky rules the house like a small, furry dictator. Emma stared at the cat. Alexander had rescued a 3-legged cat. The man who'd blackmailed her into marriage had a soft spot for disabled animals. That's surprising, Emma managed. Mr. Volkov contains multitudes, Mrs. Chen said with the ghost of a smile. As you'll discover. Emma wasn't sure she wanted to discover anything about Alexander Volkov, but she had 5 years to find out whether she wanted to or not. She spent the next 4 hours reading the contract, every word, every clause, every loophole and implication. It was fair, which somehow made it worse. If Alexander had been unreasonable, she could hate him cleanly. Instead, he was scrupulously fair within the context of an arrangement that was inherently unfair. At 2:45, Emma left Lily playing in the library with Dostoevsky and Mrs. Chen and returned to Alexander's office. She knocked. Come in. Alexander was on the phone speaking in what sounded like Russian. He gestured for her to sit and continued his conversation. Emma caught only a few words, enough to know he was angry about something. His tone was ice and knives. He finished the call and set down his phone. Questions. Section 12. Public appearances. It says I'm required to attend 8 to 12 events per year, properly dressed and behaving appropriately. Define appropriately. Polite, charming, engaged but not overly familiar. You smile, you make conversation, you present as a happily married couple in love. Standard social performance. And if someone asks how we met, we'll create a cover story, something believable. I'm thinking mutual friends met at a charity event 6 months ago, kept it quiet until we were sure. Simple, romantic enough to satisfy curiosity without inviting deeper investigation. Emma made a note in the margin. Section 18, social media, all posts subject to review. By whom? My security team. They'll send you posting guidelines. Nothing controversial, nothing revealing our location or daily routines, nothing that could be used against us. Us. You mean you. I mean us. You're a target now too, Emma. Anyone who wants to hurt me can use you or Lily. The restrictions aren't punishment. They're protection. Emma wanted to argue but couldn't. He was probably right. Section 22. Contact monitoring. You'll read my text to Carol and Jessica. My team will. I won't personally unless something triggers an alert. Your privacy is respected within the constraints of security. That's not privacy. No, it's safety. There's a difference, and you'll learn to appreciate it. Emma moved to the next marked section. Fidelity clause. You expect me to remain celibate for 5 years? I expect you to remain discreet if you choose otherwise. As will I. The appearance of fidelity is what matters publicly. What happens behind closed doors is between us. So Emma couldn't finish the sentence. Take a lover hypothetically, yes. If you're spectacularly careful, never in this house, never with anyone connected to my world, and never in a way that could create scandal. Realistically, I wouldn't recommend it. Too many variables, too much risk. And you? The same rules apply to me. Emma sat back. This conversation was surreal. You've really thought of everything. I told you I don't make uninformed decisions. Except you married a woman you don't know. That seems pretty uninformed. Alexander's mouth curved slightly. I know you better than you think. I know you worked 3 jobs to keep Lily fed. I know you donated plasma twice a month for extra cash. I know you haven't bought new clothes for yourself in 2 years because every dollar went to Lily. I know you're strong, resourceful, and devoted to your daughter above everything else. That's all I needed to know. The accuracy was unnerving. You investigated me that thoroughly. I investigate everyone thoroughly. It's why I'm still alive. The casual mention of death threats made Emma's stomach clench. How dangerous is your life exactly? Dangerous enough that this house has a safe room in the basement, armed security on the grounds 24/7, and multiple evacuation plans. Boring enough that we've never had to use any of them. Alexander leaned back in his chair. My family is in import-export. Legitimate business with complicated history. We've made enemies. Some of them hold grudges. Most are smart enough not to act on them. Import-export, Emma repeated. That's vague. Intentionally. Some details you don't need. Plausible deniability protects you. From what? Questions you can't answer. Now, any other concerns about the contract? Emma had dozens, but her head was spinning and she needed time to process. Can I have until tomorrow morning? You can have until Monday. That gives you 3 days to read, consider, and consult your own lawyer if you choose. Why are you being so reasonable? Because an unhappy wife is a liability. A wife who feels respected within the confines of an inherently unequal arrangement is an asset. I prefer assets. His honesty was brutal and strangely refreshing. At least he wasn't pretending this was anything other than what it was. One more question, Emma said. What happens at the end of 5 years? We revisit the arrangement. If it's working for both of us, we extend it. If not, we divorce amicably. You receive a settlement $3 million plus half the appreciation of any jointly held assets. You leave with your reputation intact and enough money to start fresh anywhere you want. $3 million. Emma couldn't comprehend that number. It was freedom. It was security for Lily forever. It was everything she'd never dared dream of. It was 5 years away. I need air, Emma said, suddenly standing. I need air. The grounds are yours to explore. Stay within the walls. Security will track you via the phone you're carrying, but they won't approach unless necessary. Emma left the office feeling suffocated. The house was beautiful and cold and utterly foreign. She found a side door and stepped outside into gardens that looked professionally maintained. She walked until she found a bench hidden behind rose bushes, not yet in bloom. She sat and put her head in her hands. 5 years. 5 years of performance and pretense. 5 years of being Mrs. Alexander Volkov. 5 years of her daughter growing up in this world of wealth and danger and complicated rules. But also 5 years of safety, of stability, of Lily never going to bed hungry again. Emma's phone buzzed. She pulled it out, then remembered it was being monitored. Everything was being monitored. She had no privacy, no autonomy, no life that was truly hers. The text was from Jessica. Went to your house. It's empty. Someone cleaned it out overnight. Where's your stuff? Emma stared at the message. Her house cleared already. Without her permission, she stood and walked back inside Fury Building. She found Alexander still in his office. You emptied my house. Emma didn't bother knocking. Without asking me. I told you yesterday we'd collect your things. I did what I said I'd do. Where's my stuff? Storage unit downtown, everything except trash. You'll receive an inventory by end of day and can retrieve anything you want moved here. You can't just, Emma stopped, took a breath. I had things there, personal things, photos, Lily's baby clothes, my mother's jewelry. All boxed carefully and labeled. Nothing was damaged or discarded without review. Alexander's voice was maddeningly calm. Emma, you're not going back to that house. It makes no sense to leave your possessions there. It was my choice to make. No, it wasn't. Your landlord was served eviction papers yesterday afternoon by Greg's creditors. You were going to lose everything within 72 hours anyway. I saved what could be saved. Emma felt the floor tilt. Eviction papers. Greg hadn't paid rent in 3 months. Did you know that? She hadn't. Of course she hadn't. Another lie, another betrayal. The deposit, he said it was for his business investment, Alexander continued. Rent money, which he gambled away. Your landlord was legally obligated to pursue payment or eviction. I paid the back rent and had your belongings collected before the landlord could seize them for unpaid debts. Emma sank into the chair facing his desk. Why would you do that? Because you're my wife. Your problems are now my problems, and I solve problems efficiently. Alexander set down his pen. Emma, I know this is difficult, but I'm not your enemy. Greg was your enemy. I'm just the solution to the problem he created. The worst part was that he was right. Every time she wanted to hate him, he did something that made sense, something that helped her, even if it was wrapped in control. I want to see the storage inventory, Emma said. I'll have Mrs. Chen send you the details within the hour. And I want Lily's baby book, the blue one with the ducks on the cover. It's important. I'll have it brought here tonight. Emma stood. Thank you. You don't need to thank me for doing what's logical. I'm thanking you anyway. It's called being polite. Alexander's mouth twitched. Noted. Emma returned to the library. Lily was curled up asleep on the couch, Dostoevsky draped across her legs. Mrs. Chen sat nearby reading. How long has she been out? Emma whispered. 20 minutes. The excitement of yesterday finally caught up with her. Emma sat carefully beside her daughter, not wanting to wake her. Dostoevsky opened one eye, assessed Emma, then went back to sleep. Mrs. Chen closed her book. May I speak candidly, Mrs. Volkov? Please, and call me Emma. Emma, then. Mrs. Chen's expression softened slightly. I've worked for Mr. Volkov for 8 years. In that time, I've seen him make many decisions. Some good, some questionable. This is the first time I've seen him make a decision based on something other than pure business calculation. Emma frowned. What do you mean? He could have simply foreclosed on your house, taken the loss, moved on. Instead, he offered you this arrangement. I think, Mrs. Chen paused. I think he saw something in you that reminded him of himself. Survival instinct, fierce protection of what matters most, willingness to make hard choices. You're saying he respects me. I'm saying he recognizes you, which is more than respect. It's acknowledgement of an equal even in unequal circumstances. Emma looked at her sleeping daughter. I don't feel like anyone's equal. I feel like a prisoner in a gilded cage. The cage exists, but the gilding is real too, and Mr. Volkov honors his commitments. If he promised you safety and security, you have them. Absolutely. Why are you telling me this? Because you'll need to trust him eventually, and trust comes easier when you understand who you're trusting. Mrs. Chen stood. I'll go prepare lunch. Let your daughter sleep. She's safe here. After she left, Emma sat in the library, holding her daughter's small hand, and tried to imagine 5 years in this house. 5 years of contracts and performances and monitored privacy. 5 years of being someone she wasn't. Or 5 years of becoming someone new. Someone stronger. Someone who could survive anything because she already had. Her phone buzzed again. The storage unit inventory had arrived. Emma scrolled through it, recognizing the items, their secondhand furniture, Lily's toys, boxes of clothes, kitchen supplies. And there on page 3, box 47, blue fabric baby book with duck pattern photo albums, 3 assorted children's artwork. Alexander had found it, had made sure it was protected. Emma stared at the entry and felt something shift inside her. Not trust, not yet, but maybe the foundation for it. The acknowledgement that he wasn't completely heartless. That somewhere beneath the cold efficiency was someone who understood that a blue baby book with ducks mattered more than money. It wasn't much, but it was something. And something Emma had learned over 7 years of single motherhood was always better than nothing. Lily woke 20 minutes later, disoriented and clinging to Emma like she was afraid to let go. They had lunch together in a small breakfast nook off the kitchen sandwiches and fruit that appeared without Emma having to ask. The quiet efficiency of the household staff was unnerving. She could get used to comfort, but being anticipated felt like being watched. Can we go outside? Lily asked, picking at her sandwich. I want to see if there's a swing. Emma glanced at Mrs. Chen, who nodded. There's a play structure behind the pool house. Completely safe. Security monitors the entire grounds. Of course they did. They went outside and Lily discovered not just a swing, but an elaborate playground that looked like it had been installed professionally. She ran toward it with the first genuine smile Emma had seen since the wedding. Emma's phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, then remembered everything was monitored anyway. Hello, Mrs. Volkov, a woman's voice professional and crisp. This is Dr. Sarah Chen from Hamilton Academy. I understand your daughter will be enrolling Monday. Emma's grip tightened on the phone. I haven't decided yet. Mr. Volkov's office sent over the paperwork this morning. I'm calling to schedule Lily's entrance assessment. Its standard procedure just ensures we place her in the appropriate grade level and identify any additional support she might need. Assessment. Lily was already struggling at her current school because Emma couldn't afford tutoring. What kind of assessment? Nothing stressful, literacy evaluation, basic math, social-emotional screening. Takes about 90 minutes. We have an opening tomorrow at 10 a.m. if that works for you. Tomorrow. Everything was moving so fast. Emma wanted to say no, to slow down, to have 5 minutes where someone wasn't making decisions about her life. But Lily needed school, needed normalcy, and Hamilton Academy was probably better than Jefferson Elementary, where the ceiling leaked and the textbooks were a decade old. 10 a.m. works, Emma heard herself say. Wonderful, I'll send you the address and parking information. We're looking forward to meeting Lily. The call ended. Emma stared at her phone, feeling steamrolled. Mommy, push me, Lily called from the swing. Emma pushed her daughter, watching her hair fly back, listening to her laugh. This was why she'd signed the contract. For moments like this. For Lily's laughter instead of her tears. Her phone buzzed again. A text from Alexander. Dinner tonight at 7. Business associate joining us. Dress accordingly. Mrs. Chen has appropriate clothing ready. Emma's jaw clenched. Their first public performance. She typed back, what's accordingly mean? His response came immediately. Cocktail dress, polite conversation, you're my wife. Act like it. Emma wanted to throw the phone. Instead, she slipped it in her pocket and kept pushing Lily, trying to absorb these last hours of relative peace before she had to perform. At 6:30, Mrs. Chen appeared to collect Lily for an early dinner in the kitchen. Emma went upstairs and found a navy dress laid out on the bed, elegant, expensive, perfectly her size. Matching heels, simple jewelry. Someone had thought of everything. She showered and dressed, feeling like she was putting on armor. The woman in the mirror looked sophisticated and pulled together. Nothing like the exhausted waitress who'd served burned coffee and taken abuse for tips just 3 days ago. At 6:58, Emma descended the stairs. Alexander waited in the foyer, checking his watch. He wore a dark suit that made him look even more dangerous than usual. His eyes traveled over her, assessing. Good. You clean up well. Is that supposed to be a compliment? It's an observation. Come, Victor will be here any minute. Who's Victor? Business partner? Real estate development. He's considering a major project and I need him to see stability. A wife suggests stability. So I'm a prop. You're an asset. There's a difference. Alexander opened the door to what looked like a formal sitting room. Victor is 63, married 40 years, Catholic conservative. He values family. Be charming, be interested in his stories, laugh at his jokes even if they're not funny. Anything else? Emma's voice dripped sarcasm. Yes, don't mention how we met. We've been together 6 months, met through mutual friends, kept it quiet until we were sure. Got it? Got it? The doorbell rang. Alexander's hand went to Emma's lower back, possessive claiming. Showtime. Victor Castellano was exactly as described, older, expensive suit. Warm handshake eyes that evaluated Emma like she was a painting he might consider buying. His wife Maria was elegant and quiet with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Alexander, my boy. Victor clapped Alexander on the shoulder. And this must be the bride we've heard nothing about. You've been keeping secrets. Emma, Alexander said smoothly, pulling her closer. My wife, Emma Victor and Maria Castellano. Old family friends. Emma smiled. It's wonderful to meet you both. Alexander's told me so much. Has he? Victor's eyes twinkled. Because he's told us absolutely nothing. Just showed up at the club last week with a wedding ring and a mysterious smile. Made us all very curious. They moved to the sitting room. Mrs. Chen appeared with wine and hors d'oeuvres. Emma accepted a glass she had no intention of drinking. She needed her mind sharp. So how did you two meet? Maria asked, speaking for the first time. Her voice was soft, but her eyes were sharp. Charity gala, Alexander said before Emma could speak. 6 months ago. Pediatric cancer research. Emma was there with friends. I was there avoiding boring conversation. We ended up at the same table. And he spilled wine on my dress, Emma added, surprising herself with how easily the lie came. Spent 20 minutes apologizing. I told him he could make it up to me by donating double to the cause. Victor laughed. And did he? He did, then asked for my number as a receipt. Smooth, Victor said, raising his glass to Alexander. Didn't know you had it in you, Alex. You always seemed married to work. I was, Alexander said, and the way he looked at Emma almost seemed genuine. Until Emma convinced me there were more important things. The performance was flawless. Emma felt sick. They moved to the dining room for dinner. The meal was elaborate, multiple courses, perfect wine pairings, conversation that flowed like a script. Victor talked about his children, 3 sons, all in the family business. Maria talked about grandchildren and charity work. Emma smiled and nodded and played her part, feeling Alexander's eyes on her throughout assessing her performance. And you have a daughter, Maria asked during the main course. Alexander mentioned she's 7. Yes, Lily. Emma's voice softened genuinely. She's upstairs. This is all very new for her. Alexander said you're a widow. Maria's eyes held sympathy that felt rehearsed. I'm so sorry. Emma's mind raced. Alexander had told them she was a widow, not abandoned, not tricked. Thank you, Emma managed. It's been difficult, but we're managing. Well, you found a good man in Alexander, but Victor said. His father and I go back 40 years. This family takes care of their own. The mention of Alexander's father made Alexander's jaw tighten almost imperceptibly. Emma caught it and filed it away. Emma's been incredible with the adjustment. Alexander set his hand finding hers on the table. His touch was warm, and his thumb stroked her knuckles in what would look like affection to anyone watching. Emma knew it was direction keep playing along. Moving into a new house, new city, enrolling Lily in a new school, she's handled everything with grace. New city. Maria's eyebrows rose. Where did you move from? North, Emma said vaguely. Small town. Nothing exciting. And your family? Just an aunt, Carol. We're close, but she understands this opportunity was too good to pass up. The lies stacked on lies. Emma was building a completely fictional past, and it came disturbingly naturally. Dessert appeared something chocolate and elaborate. Victor launched into a story about a development deal in Miami. Alexander asked pointed questions. Emma watched them dance around the actual business, talking in code she didn't quite understand. Finally, at nearly 10 p.m., Victor and Maria stood to leave. We should do this again, Victor said, shaking Alexander's hand. Soon. And bring Lily next time. Maria loves children. We will, Alexander promised. Thank you for coming. Emma walked them to the door with Alexander's hand on her back. They waved as the car pulled away, standing on the front steps like a happy couple. The moment the gates closed, Alexander dropped his hand. Inside. Emma followed him back into the house. He headed straight for his office. She followed uninvited. You told them I'm a widow. Emma shut the door behind her. Why not just tell them the truth? Because the truth makes you look like a victim or a gold digger depending on interpretation. Widow makes you sympathetic. Sympathetic is useful. So you rewrote my history without asking me. I created a backstory that protects both of us. You're welcome. Alexander poured himself scotch from a crystal decanter. You did well tonight. Victor liked you. That matters. I'm so glad I pleased Victor. Your sarcasm is noted, but yes, you should be glad. Victor controls $600 million in development capital. His approval of our marriage means he'll approve my involvement in his projects, which means money, which pays for everything in this house, including your daughter's new school. Emma wanted to argue but couldn't. He was right. Again, always right in that infuriating way that made her feel both protected and trapped. I have a question, Emma said. What happened to Greg really? Alexander sipped his scotch. Why do you want to know? Because he destroyed my life and I want to know if he's paying for it. He's in county jail awaiting extradition to Florida for wire fraud, then to Texas for identity theft, then to Arizona for illegal gambling debts. He'll be fighting legal battles for the next 3 years minimum. Best case scenario, he serves 18 months. Worst case, 5 years. Either way, he's ruined. Good. Good. Alexander raised an eyebrow. That's cold. He left me at the altar after forging my signature and emptying my bank account. He tried to make my daughter homeless. Cold doesn't begin to cover what I feel about Greg. Something flickered across Alexander's face. Approval, respect. Noted. And for what it's worth, if he ever gets out and comes near you or Lily, he won't have to worry about jail time. He'll have to worry about me. The casual threat should have scared Emma. Instead, it felt like protection, which was probably how abusive relationships started, she thought distantly. But Alexander hadn't hurt her. Controlled her, yes. Protected her also, yes. Hurt her, no. I'm going to bed, Emma said. Lily has her assessment tomorrow at 10. Mrs. Chen will drive you. Security will follow in a separate vehicle. Is that necessary? It's non-negotiable. Lily is under my protection now. That means security protocols. Get used to it. Emma left before she said something she'd regret. She checked on Lily, who was fast asleep with Dostoevsky curled at her feet. Then she went to her own room, peeled off the cocktail dress, and stood under a hot shower until her skin turned red. She'd performed tonight, played the happy wife, lied convincingly to strangers. And the worst part, it hadn't been that hard. Maybe that's what scared her most. How easily she was adapting to this life. How quickly the lies came. How natural it felt to stand beside Alexander and pretend. Emma dried off and crawled into bed staring at the ceiling. 3 days. She'd been Mrs. Volkov for 3 days and already her old life felt like a distant dream. How much of herself would be left after 5 years? Her phone buzzed. A text from Alexander, "You did well tonight. Sleep well." Emma stared at the message. It was almost kind, almost human. She typed back, "Thanks. You too." She deleted it, typed again. "Whatever you say, boss." Deleted that too. Finally settled on, "Good night." His response came immediately, "Good night, Emma." The use of her first name felt intimate in a way his usual cold formality didn't. Emma turned off her phone and pulled the covers over her head, trying not to think about how her life had become a negotiation where even text messages felt loaded with meaning. The next morning, Mrs. Chen drove them to Hamilton Academy in a sleek black sedan. A second car followed security just as Alexander had said. Lily pressed her face to the window, taking in the manicured grounds, the brick buildings, the children in uniform arriving in expensive cars. "Everyone looks rich," Lily whispered. "You're rich now, too," Mrs. Chen said gently. "Mr. Volkov has made sure of that." "I don't feel rich," Lily said. "I feel scared." Emma squeezed her hand. "Scared is okay. Brave isn't not being scared. Brave is being scared and doing it anyway." The assessment took 90 minutes exactly as promised. Emma sat in the waiting area drinking terrible coffee and trying not to panic. What if Lily didn't pass? What if they rejected her? What if... "Mrs. Volkov," Dr. Chen appeared smiling. "Lily did wonderfully. She's reading slightly above grade level, math is right on track, and her social-emotional responses were very healthy given recent changes in her life. We'd love to welcome her Monday morning." Relief flooded through Emma. "Really, she's in?" "Absolutely. I'll email you the welcome packet and supply list. First day orientation is Monday at 8 a.m. Parents attend the first hour, then students break into classes." Emma signed forms, collected information packets, and found Lily in the assessment room coloring at a table. "How did it go, baby?" "It was fun. They let me read a book about dinosaurs and play math games on a computer and asked me questions about friends and feelings." Lily held up her picture, a house with flowers and a giant gray cat. "Can I start Monday? The teacher said they have art class twice a week." Emma looked at her daughter's hopeful face and felt something in her chest crack. This was what the sacrifice bought. Lily's excitement about school, her hope for art class, her belief that maybe this new life could be good. "Yes, baby, you start Monday." The drive home was quieter. Lily fell asleep in her car seat, exhausted from the morning's excitement. Emma watched the scenery pass and wondered if she was making the right choice. Every day she stayed made leaving harder. Every day, Lily adjusted to this life, made going back to poverty more traumatic. She was trapped by her daughter's happiness, and maybe that was the most insidious trap of all. They pulled through the gates of the estate just before noon. Emma carried sleeping Lily upstairs, tucked her into bed for a nap. When she came back down, Alexander was waiting in the foyer. "How did it go?" "She's in, starts Monday." "Good." He checked his watch. "I have something to show you. Come." Emma followed him through the house to a wing she hadn't explored yet. He opened a door, revealing a room that made her breath catch. It was an office, a beautiful office with huge windows, a large desk, built-in bookshelves, and a comfortable reading chair. But more than that, it was set up. Computer, printer supplies, everything. "What is this, your office?" You'll need space to handle Lily's school correspondence, manage household accounts, whatever else you want to do with your time. I had it prepared. Emma walked in slowly, touching the desk, the chair, the books already shelved. Why? Because you're not a prisoner, Emma. You're my wife. That comes with resources. Use them. I don't know what to do with this. Then figure it out. Read, learn something new, start a business, write a novel. I don't care. Just don't waste your life being miserable and resentful. That's inefficient for both of us. He left before she could respond. Emma stood in her new office, overwhelmed. This wasn't how captivity was supposed to feel. Captivity wasn't supposed to come with offices and opportunities and a man who recognized she needed more than just existing. Her phone rang. Carol, Emma answered. Hi. Oh, thank God. Carol's voice broke. Emma, are you okay? Really okay. No one's heard from you in days, and Jessica said someone emptied your house, and I've been losing my mind. I'm okay, Carol. I promise. It's complicated, but we're safe. Safe, Emma, you married a stranger. A criminal? He's not, Emma stopped. Was Alexander a criminal? Probably. In ways she didn't want to examine too closely. It's not what you think. Then explain it to me. Because from where I'm sitting, you were blackmailed into marriage, and I'm terrified for you. Emma sank into the office chair. He gave me a choice, Carol. A horrible choice, but a choice. And I chose Lily's safety over my pride. Maybe that makes me weak or a coward or... It makes you a mother, Carol interrupted. But Emma, 5 years, you signed a contract for 5 years. With an out clause if he breaches. And money. Real money. Enough to give Lily everything I never could. At what cost? That was the question, wasn't it? I don't know yet, but so far he's been fair. Cold and controlling, yes, but fair. Carol was quiet for a long moment. You sound different. I am different. I'm Mrs. Alexander Volkov now. That person isn't who I was. Maybe she'll be better. Or maybe she'll lose herself completely. After they hung up, Emma sat in her new office staring at her hands. Carol's words echoed. Losing herself. Was that what was happening? Or was she finally finding a version of herself who didn't have to apologize for taking up space? She opened the desk drawer and found a checkbook. Her name, Emma Volkov, printed on every check. Access to an account she hadn't earned. Money that wasn't hers but somehow was. She closed the drawer, stood, left the office, and walked through the house until she found Alexander in his own office on the phone again. He looked up, held up one finger. Wait, Emma didn't wait. She walked in and sat down. Alexander's eyebrow rose, but he finished his call. Something wrong. Define our marriage. Excuse me. Define our marriage, not the contract, not the business arrangement. Tell me what we are. Alexander leaned back in his chair. We're two people using each other for mutual benefit. I get a wife who makes me look stable. You get security and resources. It's transactional. Wrong. Wrong. We're two people who made impossible choices and are trying to survive them without destroying each other. That's what we are. Emma met his eyes. And if we're going to survive 5 years, we need to be honest. So here's my honesty. I don't trust you. I don't like you, but I'm grateful for what you've given Lily. And I'm going to honor this contract because my word means something, even if Greg's didn't. Alexander studied her for a long moment. My turn. Your turn. I respect you. I don't know if I like you yet. That remains to be seen. But I respect your strength and your commitment to your daughter. And I will honor every promise I made because my word is the only thing that keeps my world from collapsing. We may not have a traditional marriage, but we have something. Mutual respect is a start. A start, Emma repeated. A start. They stared at each other across the desk. Something shifted. Not trust, not affection, but acknowledgement. They were in this together whether they liked it or not. I should check on Lily, Emma said finally. Emma? She turned back. Thank you for tonight, for playing your part. Victor signed the deal this morning. Your performance mattered. Don't thank me. It's part of the contract. Still, thank you. Emma left before she could analyze why his gratitude felt good. She didn't want to feel good about pleasing Alexander. That path led nowhere safe. But as she climbed the stairs to check on her sleeping daughter, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed between them. Some invisible line had been crossed, and she wasn't sure if that was a good thing or the beginning of something much more complicated. Monday morning arrived with the kind of perfect weather that felt like a taunt. Emma woke to sun streaming through the windows and Lily already awake sitting on the edge of the bed dressed in her new Hamilton Academy uniform. "I couldn't sleep," Lily said. "What if nobody likes me?" Emma pulled her close. "Then they're idiots. But baby, you're smart and kind and funny. They're going to love you. You have to say that. You're my mom." "I have to say it because it's true. Come on, let's get breakfast." They went downstairs to find Alexander already at the table reading the newspaper with his coffee. He looked up when they entered. "First day," he set down the paper. "Nervous." Lily nodded, not meeting his eyes. "Good. Nerves mean you care. People who don't get nervous don't care enough to succeed." Alexander's voice was matter of fact. "You'll do fine. And if anyone gives you trouble, to tell them your stepfather will have their parents audited by the IRS." "Alexander," Emma said sharply. "What, I'm joking." He paused. "Mostly." Lily giggled despite herself. It was the first time Emma had heard her laugh near Alexander. Something eased in Emma's chest. They ate breakfast quickly. At 7:30, Mrs. Chen drove them to Hamilton with security following. Emma's stomach churned the entire drive. This was it, Lily's first step into Alexander's world. Once she started this school, made friends here, got comfortable, going back would be impossible. The campus was already buzzing with activity. Children in uniforms poured out of expensive cars. Parents walked them to the entrance, all designer clothes and confident smiles. Emma felt immediately out of place despite her new wardrobe. "Mrs. Volkov," Dr. Chen appeared smiling warmly. "And Lily, welcome. Let's get you checked in." The first hour was orientation, parents and students together. Emma sat in a bright classroom listening to teachers explain curriculum and policies. Lily sat pressed against her side, fingers twisted in Emma's sleeve. "And we have a buddy system," the teacher, Ms. Rodriguez, was saying. "Each new student is paired with a current student for their first week. Lily, your buddy will be Sophie Castellano." Emma's head snapped up. Castellano. A girl with dark curls bounced over. "Hi, I'm Sophie. My grandma said you might be coming. Want to see the art room? It's the best part of school." Victor's granddaughter, of course. Everything in Alexander's world connected to everything else. "Can I go, Mommy?" Lily asked. Emma wanted to say no, wanted to keep Lily close, but that defeated the purpose of this whole arrangement. Go, have fun. She watched Lily leave with Sophie chattering about art supplies and felt her chest constrict. Her baby, her little girl, walking away into a world Emma didn't understand. "She'll be fine," the voice came from beside her. Emma turned to find an elegant woman in her 40s, blonde hair, perfectly styled. "I'm Charlotte Westbrook. My daughter Hannah is in Lily's class. I saw you at the Castellano dinner Friday. You're Alexander Volkov's wife." News traveled fast in this world. "Yes, Emma. Interesting match. Alexander always seems so—" Charlotte paused delicately. "Unavailable. People change." Charlotte's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Well, welcome to Hamilton. The parents here can be intense, competitive, especially about status. Word of advice, don't mention your new money. These families have been wealthy for generations. They can smell desperation." Emma's jaw tightened. "I'm not desperate." "Of course not. You married a Volkov. That's old Russian money, almost as good as old American money." "Almost." Charlotte checked her phone. "Lovely meeting you. Let's do lunch sometime. I'll have my assistant call yours." She swept away. Emma stood there feeling dismissed and analyzed and found wanting in under 5 minutes. "Don't let Charlotte get to you." Another woman approached, younger, warmer smile. "I'm Priya Mehta. My son Dev is in second grade. Grade 2. Charlotte's always like that with new people. It's not personal. Feels personal. It's fear. Women like Charlotte need to know where everyone fits in the hierarchy. You're unknown, married to someone powerful, therefore threatening." Priya's smile turned conspiratorial. "Between us, most of these people are deeply insecure under the designer clothes. They just hide it better." Emma felt marginally better. "Thanks. Anytime. And seriously, if Lily needs a play date, Dev would love it. He's always looking for new friends who aren't total nightmares." They exchanged numbers. When orientation ended, Emma kissed Lily goodbye, her daughter already laughing with Sophie about something, and headed to the parking lot. Her phone rang. "Alexander." How did it go? Fine, she's already made a friend, Victor's granddaughter. Sophie, good. Victor will appreciate the connection. Is that why you sent her there to build connections? I sent her there because it's the best school in the state, and she deserves the best. The connections are a bonus. Alexander paused. I need you home by noon. We have a visitor. Who pananit? My father. Emma's stomach dropped. What? He heard I got married. He's flying in to meet you. Be ready. The line went dead. Emma stared at her phone. Alexander's father. The man who demanded Alexander marry within 5 years or lose his inheritance. The man whose approval apparently mattered enough that Alexander had blackmailed a stranger into becoming his wife. This should be terrifying. It was terrifying. Mrs. Chen drove her home in silence. Emma spent the ride trying to prepare for meeting the patriarch of the Volkov family and coming up empty. What did you say to the father of your fake husband? How did you explain a marriage that existed only on paper? She had 2 hours to figure it out. Back at the house, Emma found Alexander in the foyer pacing. She'd never seen him pace. He was always controlled, always calm. This version of him was unsettling. He's landing in 40 minutes, Alexander said without preamble. I need to brief you. Brief me. My father is... Alexander ran a hand through his hair. Difficult. He'll test you. Try to find weaknesses. He doesn't trust easily, and he doesn't approve of anything easily. Great, no pressure. Emma, I'm serious. This matters. If he doesn't believe we're really married, if he thinks this is a scheme, he'll make both our lives hell. He has that kind of power. Then maybe you should have married someone he'd actually approve of, instead of a broke single mother you blackmailed at her own wedding. Alexander's jaw tightened. He doesn't need to know those details. He needs to believe we're in love. Can you do that? Emma laughed bitterly. You want me to convince your father we're in love when we can barely stand being in the same room? Yes. That's insane. That's the deal. You signed a contract. This falls under public appearances. My father is public. Alexander stepped closer. Please, I'm asking. I don't ask for much. The please caught her off guard. Alexander didn't say please. Didn't ask. He commanded and expected obedience. What do I need to know about him? Emma asked. Relief flashed across Alexander's face. His name is Mikhail. He's traditional, conservative, old-school Russian values. Family is everything. Loyalty is everything. He'll ask invasive questions about our relationship, how we met our plans for children. Children? Emma's voice rose. You told me that clause was removed from the contract. It was, but my father doesn't know that. As far as he's concerned, you're young, healthy, and capable of giving him grandchildren. He'll push. And what do I say? That we're not ready yet. That we're taking time to adjust. That when it happens, it happens. Vague, but promising. Alexander checked his watch. Change clothes, something more domestic, less designer. He'll respond better to wholesome than sophisticated. Emma wanted to argue but didn't have time. She ran upstairs, changed into jeans and a simple sweater, pulled her hair into a ponytail. When she came back down, Alexander was waiting with Mrs. Chen. He prefers tea to coffee, Mrs. Chen said. Russian black tea with lemon and sugar. I've prepared it. And he likes homemade food. I've made blinis and honey cake, his favorites. Does he know about Lily? Emma asked suddenly. Alexander and Mrs. Chen exchanged looks. I mentioned you have a daughter, Alexander said carefully. He wasn't pleased. Baggage, he called it. So tread carefully there. Baggage. Her daughter was baggage. Emma felt rage build but pushed it down. Later. She could be angry. Later. Right now, she had to perform. A car pulled up outside. Alexander took Emma's hand. Remember, we're in love. We're happy. This is real. His hand was warm, solid. Emma held on tighter than necessary. The front door opened. A man walked in, 70-something, tall despite age-sharp eyes and a weathered face. He wore an expensive suit that looked uncomfortable on him, like he was more used to working clothes. Behind him came 2 younger men, clearly security. Papa! Alexander's voice changed, became more formal, more careful. Welcome. Mikhail's eyes went immediately to Emma. He looked her up and down with zero attempt at politeness. Emma lifted her chin and met his stare. So, this is wife. His English was heavily accented. Small, too thin, not strong breeding stock. Emma's mouth dropped open. Alexander's hand tightened on hers. Papa, this is Emma, my wife. Ma, my father, Mikhail Volkov. Pleasure to meet you, Mr. Volkov, Emma said, proud of how steady her voice was. Mikhail grunted. We sit. We talk. You tell me how you trapped my son into marriage. I didn't trap him. Papa? Alexander's voice held warning. We're having tea. Be civil. They moved to the sitting room. Mrs. Chen served tea and pastries. Mikhail sat like a king holding court, his security standing by the door. Emma perched on the edge of the sofa beside Alexander, feeling like she was on trial. How you meet? Mikhail demanded. Emma launched into the cover story, Charity Gala Spilled Wine Donation. Mikhail listened with narrowed eyes. Charity. He spat the word like a curse. Americans in charity. Always charity. In Russia, we take care of family, not strangers. Emma's family now, Alexander said quietly, so we take care of her. Family is blood. She is not blood. She is, Mikhail gestured dismissively. Purchase. Emma felt her face burn. Excuse me. You hear me? My son buys things. Nice cars, nice house, nice wife. All purchases. Papa, that's enough. It's fine. Emma cut Alexander off. She dealt with rude men her entire adult life. She could handle one more. You're right, Mr. Volkov. I'm not blood, but I'm also not a purchase. I'm a person who fell in love with your son, despite him being difficult and cold and emotionally unavailable. And I married him because I saw past all that to someone worth loving. If that makes me stupid or naive in your eyes, that's your problem, not mine. The room went silent. Alexander's security looked alarmed. Mrs. Chen had frozen in the doorway. And Mikhail laughed, actually laughed, a deep booming sound. She has fire? Finally, Alexander brings home woman with spine? He slapped his knee. Good, good. I was worried he married weak American woman who cries about feelings. You, he pointed at Emma, you fight. That is good. Volkov women must fight. Emma blinked. Had she just passed some kind of test? You have child? Mikhail asked suddenly. Previous marriage. Daughter, Lily. She's 7. Husband dead. Emma hesitated. Alexander jumped in. Accident. Years ago, Emma's been raising Lily alone. So you know hard work, sacrifice. Mikhail studied Emma. This is good. Soft women make soft children. You make strong children. I want grandchildren. When Alexander is 36, time is going. I need grandsons to carry name. We're waiting, Alexander started. Waiting for what? You are married, healthy, make babies. Mikhail turned to Emma. You want babies? Emma felt trapped. Eventually, yes, but good, then no waiting. Nature takes time. Start now. Papa, we're taking it slow, slow. Mikhail's fist hit the armrest. Always slow with you. Everything must be planned, analyzed, perfect. Life is not perfect. You make plan life laughs. He pointed at Emma again. You want baby. Yes, someday. Emma looked desperately at Alexander. Then make baby simple. Mikhail stood. I stay 3 days. Watch you together. See if this marriage is real or another of Alexander's schemes. If real, I leave you alone. If scheme, his eyes hardened, I fix. He left the room, security following. The moment he was gone, Emma collapsed against the sofa. Oh my God. I warned you he was difficult. Alexander rubbed his face. That actually went better than expected. Better, he called me breeding stock and demanded we make babies. Yes, but he laughed. That means he likes you. When he doesn't like someone, he just stares until they leave crying. Emma stared at Alexander. Your family is insane. Tell me something I don't know. Alexander stood. 3 days. We need to convince him we're really married for 3 days. Then he leaves and we go back to our normal arrangement. How are we supposed to do that? Act like we like each other. Be affectionate. Sleep in the same room. Absolutely not. Emma, he'll check. He's not above bribing staff for information. If he finds out we sleep separately, he'll know this is fake. Then we'll tell him we're having problems, or that I snore, or he won't believe it. And if he doesn't believe it, he'll investigate. And if he investigates, he'll find out about Greg, the debt, the blackmail, all of it. Alexander's voice was urgent. 3 nights, same room. I'll take the floor. You keep the bed. Nobody needs to know anything happened. Emma wanted to refuse, but she'd signed the contract. This qualified as a public appearance. And if Mikhail discovered the truth, everything fell apart. Fine, 3 nights, but you stay on your side of the room. Agreed. A crash came from upstairs. They both jumped. Mikhail's voice boomed. What is this? You have good bedroom and you put wife in separate room. Now, this is wrong. You sleep together like married people or you are not married. Emma closed her eyes. He's going through our rooms. He's my father. He does what he wants. Alexander headed for the stairs. Papa, get out of Emma's room. Not Emma's room is your room. Married people share room. Emma followed Alexander upstairs to find Mikhail standing in her bedroom, gesturing at the clearly untouched second side of the bed. See, nobody sleeps here. You sleep in different rooms. Mikhail turned to Emma. This is problem. He snores. Kicks what? We're adjusting to what you are married. Married people sleep together. This is final. Mikhail pointed at Alexander. Tonight you sleep here. With wife. Like man. Or I call priest and ask if marriage is even real. He stormed out. Emma sank onto the bed. This is a nightmare. This is my life. Alexander sat beside her, careful to keep distance between them. I'm sorry, I should have warned you. He's invasive. He just rearranged our sleeping arrangements without asking. Welcome to the Volkov family. Boundaries are suggestions. Privacy is weakness. Impersonal autonomy is negotiable. Alexander's voice was bitter. You think I don't know how crazy this is? I've lived it for 36 years. Emma looked at him. Really looked. For the first time, she saw past the cold control to the person underneath. Someone who'd grown up in this world of demands and expectations and invasive fathers. Someone who'd learned to armor himself because vulnerability meant losing. I'm sorry, Emma said quietly. This must be hard for you too. Alexander met her eyes. It's why I needed this arrangement. Why I needed someone who wasn't from this world. Someone who wouldn't have expectations I couldn't meet. And instead, you got me, with all my baggage and problems and daughter. Yes, you're not what I planned, but Alexander paused. You're holding up better than I expected. Most people would have cracked by now. I'm a single mother who worked 3 jobs to survive. Your father throwing tantrums barely registers on my scale of difficult situations. Alexander almost smiled. Fair point. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Emma said, we need to pick up Lily at 3. Mrs. Chen No, we pick her up together. Your father needs to see us as a family unit, right? That includes Lily. He called her baggage. He called me breeding stock. He's an equal opportunity asshole. Emma stood. But he's your father and we're stuck with him for 3 days. So we play the role. All of us. Alexander nodded slowly. Lily's not going to like this. Lily doesn't have to like it. She just has to be polite. Emma headed for the door. I'm going to spend the next 3 hours figuring out how to share a room with my fake husband without losing my mind. You go manage your father before he reorganizes something else. She left before Alexander could respond. In the hallway, she leaned against the wall and tried to breathe. 3 days, 72 hours. She could survive anything for 72 hours. Downstairs, she heard Mikhail's voice booming in Russian, then Alexander's voice sharp and responding. They were arguing. Emma couldn't understand the words, but the tone was clear frustration, anger, long-standing resentment. Emma found her phone and texted Priya. Emergency coffee needed. Tomorrow new to this world and drowning. The response came immediately. Tomorrow 10 a.m. I know exactly what you need. Hang in there. At least she had one potential ally in this insane social circle. Mrs. Chen appeared. Mr. Volkov Sr. has requested you join him for lunch. Requested or demanded? With Mr. Volkov Sr., there's no difference. Emma followed Mrs. Chen to a smaller dining room where Mikhail sat, food already spread before him. He gestured to the seat across from him. Sit, eat, we talk. Emma sat. Mrs. Chen served her soup and bread before disappearing. Mikhail ate in silence for several minutes. Emma forced herself to eat too, though her stomach was in knots. You love my son? Mikhail asked abruptly. Emma swallowed, remembered her role. Yes. Why? The question was so simple and so impossible. Because he sees me, really sees me. Not just the surface, he understands what it's like to have to be strong all the time, to make hard choices. And Emma paused, surprised to find she wasn't entirely lying. He makes me feel safe. For the first time in years, I feel like someone's looking out for me and my daughter. That matters more than I can explain. Mikhail studied her with those sharp eyes. And he loves you. You'd have to ask him. I ask you, you think he loves you? Emma thought about the contract, the blackmail, the cold efficiency with which Alexander had turned her life upside down. But she also thought about the blue baby book he'd saved, the office he'd set up, the way he'd said please that morning. I think he cares about me in his way, which is more than I've gotten from most men. Mikhail grunted. Truth. Most men are how you say garbage. Emma nearly choked on her soup. Exactly. My son is not garbage, is difficult, yes, cold, yes, but not garbage. He protects what is his, always. Mikhail's expression softened fractionally. His mother, my wife, she died when Alexander is 12. Cancer. After that, he close up, build walls. I try to help, but I am not good with feelings. In my world, you survive or you die. Feelings are luxury. Emma felt something shift. Mikhail wasn't just a demanding patriarch. He was a father who'd lost his wife and didn't know how to reach his grieving son. That must have been hard, Emma said quietly. For both of you. It was terrible. Mikhail's voice was rough. But we survive. Volkovs always survive. Now he has you. And you are survivor too. I see this. So maybe you understand him in way others cannot. Emma didn't know what to say. This conversation had gone somewhere she hadn't expected. I want to understand him, she said finally. We're just figuring each other out. Good. Keep figuring. Mikhail finished his soup. But remember, you are Volkov now. That means something, means family, means protection, also means duty. You understand duty. I've been a mother for 7 years. I understand duty. Mikhail nodded approval. Then we understand each other. Now bring child home at 3. I meet this Lily. See if she is worth the baggage. Emma bit back her angry response. Pick your battles. That's what 7 years of survival had taught her. She's worth everything, Emma said simply. You'll see. At 2:45, Emma and Alexander drove together to pick up Lily. The car was silent tense. Alexander drove with precision, everything calculated. How was lunch with my father? He asked finally. Illuminating. That's diplomatic. He told me about your mother. Alexander's hands tightened on the steering wheel. Of course he did. He tells that story to every woman I've ever brought home. His version of vetting. How many women have you brought home? Including you 3. The other 2 left crying. Emma looked at him. What makes you think I won't? Because you're still here. Alexander pulled into the Hamilton parking lot. And because you understand that some cages are better than others. He was right. Emma hated that he was right. They walked together to collect Lily Alexander's hand on Emma's back, that proprietary touch that signaled possession to everyone watching. Emma spotted Charlotte Westbrook watching them with calculating eyes. Priya waved sympathetically. Lily emerged, chattering with Sophie, her face bright with excitement. When she saw Alexander, the excitement dimmed. Did you have a good day? Emma asked, pulling her close. It was amazing. We did art and Sophie showed me all the cool places and Ms. Rodriguez said, I'm a natural at reading, and Lily's words tumbled over each other. That's wonderful, baby. We're so proud. Emma glanced at Alexander. Very proud, Alexander added stiffly. Sophie's grandparents will be pleased you two became friends. Lily looked confused but nodded. They walked to the car together. Lily chattered the whole way about school, about new friends, about the art room and the library and everything she'd discovered. Emma listened with half her attention, the other half aware of Alexander beside her, playing the role of proud stepfather. Back at the house, Mikhail waited in the foyer. So, this is baggage, child. Lily stopped talking immediately, pressed herself against Emma's leg. This is my daughter Lily, Emma said coldly. Lily, this is Mr. Volkov Sr., Alexander's father. Hello, Lily whispered. Mikhail crouched with difficulty, bringing himself to Lily's eye level. He studied her with those sharp eyes. Lily stared back, frightened but not running. You are small, Mikhail said, but eyes are strong, good. Volkov household does not need weak children. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a chocolate. You like chocolate? Lily looked at Emma, who nodded. Lily took the chocolate carefully. Thank you. Polite, also good. Mikhail stood. She stays, but, he pointed at Emma, you make another. One with Volkov blood. This one is bonus. Next one is requirement. He walked away before Emma could respond. Lily tugged Emma's sleeve. Mommy, what did he mean? Nothing, baby. Just grown-up talk. Emma kissed her forehead. Go play with Dostoevsky. I need to talk to Alexander for a minute. Lily ran off. Emma turned to Alexander, rage building. Did your father just tell me Lily doesn't count as a real child because she's not his blood? Yes. And you're okay with that? No, but arguing with him accomplishes nothing. He has his views. They won't change. Then change mine. Emma stepped closer. Make me understand why I'm subjecting my daughter to this. Make me understand why we're pretending this marriage is real for a man who looks at Lily like she's defective. Alexander's jaw worked. Because if we don't, I lose everything. The business, the house, the money, all of it reverts to my father's control. And my father's version of control means selling everything I've built to pay off old debts and grudges. It means liquidation and destruction. And it means you and Lily back on the street because the marriage contract becomes void if I breach terms. Emma felt cold. You never told me that part. I told you my inheritance was at stake. Everything else was implied. Implied you blackmailed me into a marriage where if you fail, I lose everything too. That's not implied. That's, Emma stopped breathless with fury. That's entrapment. That's reality. We succeed together or we fail together. I thought you understood that. Emma wanted to hit him, wanted to scream. Instead, she turned and walked away, heading for her room, their room now, and tried to remember how to breathe. 3 days. Just 3 more days with Mikhail. Then he'd leave and they could go back to their cold, distant arrangement. She could survive 3 days. She'd survived worse. But as Emma sat on the bed, she'd now have to share with Alexander, listening to Mikhail's voice booming through the house, making demands. She wondered exactly what she'd gotten herself into, and more importantly, how she was ever going to get out. That night, Emma put Lily to bed in her connecting room, then stood in the doorway of the master bedroom, staring at the bed she'd now have to share with Alexander. He was already there, setting up pillows down the center, like a barrier. This is the dividing line, he said without looking at her. You stay on your side, I stay on mine. How chivalrous. It's practical. We both need sleep. Fighting about territory helps no one. Alexander grabbed a blanket from the closet. I'll sleep on top of the covers. You sleep under them. If my father checks in the morning, it'll look like we shared the bed. Does he really check? He's checked every relationship I've ever had, yes. Emma changed in the bathroom, emerging in pajamas that felt too vulnerable for sharing a room with Alexander. She climbed into bed, staying as far to her side as possible. Alexander lay down on top of the covers on his side, still fully dressed except for his shoes. The lights went out. Emma lay rigid in the darkness, hyper-aware of Alexander's breathing just feet away. I'm sorry, Takbar, he said into the darkness. About earlier, about not telling you everything about the inheritance terms. You deserve to know the full stakes. Emma didn't answer, couldn't answer without saying something she'd regret. Emma, I heard you, I'm processing. Take your time. They lay in silence. Emma stared at the ceiling, counting cracks in the plaster she couldn't actually see, trying to ignore the reality that she was in bed with a man who'd manipulated her into marriage and was now apologizing like that made it better. My father will be gone in 3 days, Alexander said. Then everything goes back to normal. Separate rooms, minimal interaction, the arrangement we agreed to. Except now I know if you fail, I'm homeless again. That's not what I agreed to. I won't fail. You can't guarantee that. Watch me. Alexander's voice was steel. I don't lose, Emma. Not to my father, not to anyone. Emma wanted to believe him, hated that she wanted to believe him. She must have fallen asleep eventually because she woke to sunlight and Alexander already gone his side of the bed neatly made. Emma heard voices downstairs, Mikhail's boom and Lily's quieter responses. She dressed quickly and went down to find Lily eating breakfast while Mikhail watched her like she was a science experiment. Child eats like bird, Mikhail announced when Emma entered. Too thin. Growing children need meat, eggs, bread. Not this American cereal nonsense. She's eating, Emma said tightly, kissing Lily's head. That's what matters. Humph. In Russia, children eat what is given or go hungry. Makes them strong. Good thing we're in America then. Mikhail's eyes sharpened. Then he laughed. Yes, American wife with American sass. My son needs this. Too serious, that one. Always planning, never living. Alexander appeared already in a suit despite the early hour. Papa, I have meetings today. Emma can entertain you. Entertain? I am not guest to be entertained. I am family. Mikhail stood. I come to meetings. See what you do with business I built. The business you built is construction and shipping. I'm in real estate development now. Different world. Business is business. Money is money. I come. Emma watched Alexander's jaw tighten. Fine, but Emma needs the car to meet a friend for coffee. Take my car. Friend, Mikhail turned to Emma. What friend? You just moved here. A mother from Lily's school, Priya Mehta. Emma lifted her chin. We're having coffee at 10. Indian woman. Yes, Mikhail grunted. Good people, Indians. Hard workers. Not lazy like some Americans. You go, make friend, but be back for lunch. I want to know about this woman. He swept out with Alexander following, leaving Emma torn between relief and exhaustion. It was barely 8 a.m. and she was already emotionally drained. Mrs. Chen appeared. Would you like me to drive you to coffee? Yes, please, before I lose my mind. At 9:45, Emma kissed Lily goodbye. She'd be staying with Mrs. Chen and headed to the coffee shop where she was meeting Priya. The normalcy of walking into a regular coffee shop felt surreal after 2 days of Mikhail's intensity. Priya was already there waving from a corner table. Emma slid into the seat across from her and immediately said, Help, I'm drowning. Priya laughed. Welcome to Hamilton Society. Let me guess you're being evaluated by every parent judged for your clothes, your background, your marriage, and whether your daughter is appropriate for their precious children. Close, I'm being evaluated by my father-in-law who called my daughter baggage and keeps demanding I produce grandchildren. Oh, wow. Priya's eyes widened. That's intense. That's my life now, apparently. Emma ordered coffee she desperately needed. How do you deal with this world? The judgment, the competition, the constant performance. Honestly, I mostly ignore it. My husband and I moved here from Seattle 3 years ago for his job. We're not old money, we're tech money, which means we're barely tolerated by families like the Westbrooks. But Dev is happy, the school is excellent, and I've learned to smile and nod through the social hierarchy nonsense. Charlotte Westbrook already sized me up and found me wanting. Charlotte sizes up everyone. She's miserable in her marriage and takes it out on other women. Ignore her. Priya leaned forward. Real talk, are you okay? The rumors are flying. Some people say Alexander swept you off your feet. Others say it's a green card situation. One person claimed you're a Russian spy. Emma nearly spit out her coffee. A spy. Rich people love drama. They make up stories to entertain themselves. Priya's expression turned serious. But genuinely, are you safe, happy? Because if you need help, I'm safe. Emma said it automatically, then realized it was true. Alexander is complicated, but he's not dangerous. Not to me or Lily anyway. Good, because you look shell-shocked at orientation, and I wanted to make sure you weren't trapped in something awful. Just trapped in something complicated. They spent an hour talking about everything except the Volkov family drama, Priya's son's obsession with dinosaurs, the upcoming school fundraiser, the best grocery stores in the area. Normal conversation. Emma hadn't realized how much she'd missed normal. At 11:30, Emma's phone buzzed. Alexander, where are you? Emma texted back, coffee with Priya, heading back now. Papa is asking for you, says you're disrespectful being gone so long. I've been gone 2 hours, he can survive. Just come home, please. The please again. Emma said goodbye to Priya and headed back to the estate, bracing herself for whatever new drama awaited. She found Mikhail in the library with Lily, both of them reading. Dostoevsky sprawled across Mikhail's lap, purring. You're back, Mikhail said without looking up. Your daughter reads well, better than American children should. Maybe she has potential, despite baggage status. Emma bit her tongue. Thank you for keeping her company. I don't babysit, I evaluate. Mikhail closed his book. She asked many questions, smart questions, about Russia, about family, about why I talk funny. I like this. American children usually too afraid to ask questions. Lily looked up at Emma nervously. Did I do something wrong? No, baby. You were perfect. Emma sat beside her. What did you learn about Russia? It's really cold and they eat a lot of soup, and Mr. Volkov's family built buildings there before they came here. And he has pictures of old buildings that look like castles. Lily's eyes shone with genuine interest. Mikhail pulled out his phone showing Emma photos of ornate Russian architecture. My grandfather built these. Before revolution, before communism, before everything changed. Family business was construction, palaces, churches, great buildings. Then government took everything. My father escaped with nothing. Came to America, started over. I built company back from rubble. Now Alexander takes it further. This is legacy. Emma stared at the photos. She'd assumed Alexander's wealth was old money, inherited privilege. She hadn't considered survival, rebuilding, generational trauma. That's incredible, Emma said quietly. The resilience it must have taken. Resilience? Yes. Mikhail's voice roughened. Americans do not understand this word. Americans think hard is no Wi-Fi. Real hard is losing everything and building again with nothing. He looked at Emma. You understand this, I think. You lose things, build again. This is why Alexander chose you. He recognized survivor. Before Emma could respond, Alexander appeared in the doorway. Papa, we need to talk. My office, now. The tension in his voice made Emma's stomach clench. Mikhail stood slowly, passing Lily to Emma's care. We will finish reading later, small one. You have good questions. He followed Alexander out. The moment they were gone, Emma heard raised voices from the office, Alexander and Mikhail arguing in rapid Russian. The words were incomprehensible, but the fury was clear. Why are they yelling? Lily asked, frightened. Just a disagreement, baby. Families argue sometimes. It's okay. Emma pulled her close, though her heart was racing. What had happened? 20 minutes later, Alexander emerged looking thunderous. Mikhail followed, his face granite. We leave, Mikhail announced. Tomorrow morning. This visit is finished. Papa is finished. You do not listen. You do not learn. You make same mistakes. Mikhail switched to English with visible effort. I come to see if you finally grow up, take responsibility. Instead, I see you play games with this marriage-use wife as business tool, treat family like transaction. That's not, is exactly what you do. Mikhail turned to Emma. You seem like good woman, smart, strong, but you cannot fix my son. He is broken in ways that cannot be fixed. Save yourself, save your daughter, leave before he destroys you like he destroys everything he touches. Papa, that's enough. Alexander's voice was ice. No, not enough, never enough with you. Mikhail looked between them. I hope I am wrong. I hope you prove me wrong, but I do not think so. He left his security following. Emma heard a door slam upstairs. Alexander stood frozen in the library, face blank, but eyes blazing with something Emma couldn't name. What happened? Emma asked quietly. He found out. Found out what? About Greg, about the debt, about how we really met. Alexander's hands clenched at his sides. Victor called him this morning, wanted to confirm some business detail. Mentioned in passing that he'd heard an interesting story about Greg Thornton being arrested for fraud. My father put the pieces together within an hour. He's not stupid. Emma's blood ran cold. So he knows everything. The blackmail, the contract, everything. And now he thinks I'm using you. Thinks I haven't changed at all from the cold, calculating bastard he's always known. Alexander's laugh was bitter. The worst part, he's right. So Alexander, don't try to make this better. He's right, Emma. I blackmailed you into marriage to save my inheritance. I turned your tragedy into my solution. That's exactly the kind of thing he's talking about. Emma didn't know what to say because he was right, but also, you saved us too, Emma said. Greg would have destroyed us. You gave us a way out. Maybe your motives were selfish, but the result was good for both of us. That's rationalization. That's reality. The world isn't black and white, Alexander. People do selfish things that also help others. That doesn't make them monsters. Doesn't make them good either. Emma stepped closer. No, but it makes them human, which is more than you give yourself credit for. Alexander met her eyes. Something passed between them, understanding, maybe. Acknowledgement that they were both flawed people doing their best with impossible situations. I should check on him, yeah, Alexander said finally, or you could give him space to cool down first. You don't know my father. Space just lets him build stronger arguments. Alexander headed for the stairs and paused. Thank you for not running when you had the chance. He was gone before Emma could answer. That night, dinner was tense and silent. Mikhail ate without speaking. Alexander picked at his food. Lily sensed the tension and stayed quiet, scared. Emma tried to make conversation and gave up after receiving only grunts in response. After dinner, Mikhail announced he was retiring early. Emma put Lily to bed reading 3 stories instead of 1 because her daughter was unsettled and clingy. Is Mr. Volkov leaving because of me? Lily whispered. What? No, baby. Why would you think that? Because he called me baggage. Maybe he doesn't want me here. Emma's heart broke. Listen to me. You are not baggage. You are my daughter and you are precious and loved and wanted. If anyone has a problem with you, that's their problem. Not yours. Never yours. But what if Alexander thinks Alexander fought his father today to defend this family? You, me, all of us. He may not show feelings like other people, but he cares in his way. Emma kissed Lily's forehead. Now sleep. Tomorrow will be better. She hoped that was true. When Emma entered the master bedroom, Alexander was already there sitting on his side of the bed, still dressed, staring at nothing. He leaves in the morning, Alexander said without looking up. His flight is at 10. I'm sorry. Don't be. This is who we are. He expects me to be someone I'm not. I expect him to accept someone I can't be. We're both disappointed. Emma sat on her side of the bed. What did he say in the office? That I'm incapable of real connection. That I turn everything into a transaction because I'm afraid. That I'll lose you and Lily because I don't know how to actually care about people. Alexander's voice was flat. He's not wrong. He's not entirely right either. How do you figure? Because you set up an office for me without being asked. You saved Lily's baby book because you knew it mattered. You read to understand people, not just to control them. Those aren't the actions of someone incapable of caring. Alexander finally looked at her. You're defending me. Why? Because someone should. Emma pulled her knees to her chest. You're not a monster, Alexander. You're just someone who learned to protect himself so thoroughly that you forgot how to let people in. That's not evil. That's survival. You psychoanalyzing me now. I'm understanding you. There's a difference. They sat in silence. Then Alexander said, I'll release you from the contract. If you want out after this disaster, I'll tear it up. Give you enough money to start fresh. You and Lily can leave. No strings. Emma's breath caught. You're serious. Completely. My father's right. I am using you. That's not fair to you or Lily. So if you want out, I'm offering. Emma stared at him. This was her chance, her escape. She could take Lily and leave, start over with enough money to never struggle again. But where would they go? Back to poverty, to another city where Emma knew no one and Lily had to start over again. And what about the last week, the safety, the resources, the glimpse of a life where Emma didn't have to choose between food and rent? No, Emma said. No, I'm not leaving. We signed a contract. I honor my commitments. Emma met his eyes. Besides Lily's happy at Hamilton, she's making friends. We have a stability. I'm not throwing that away because your father has opinions about our arrangement. Emma, I said no. We have 5 years. Let's finish what we started. Alexander stared at her like she was a puzzle he couldn't solve. You're insane. I'm practical. You taught me that. Emma lay down, pulling the covers up. Now get some sleep. Tomorrow your father leaves and we can go back to our normal, dysfunctional routine. Normal, right. Alexander lay down on his side of the pillow barrier. For what it's worth, thank you. For staying, for not running, for being stronger than I gave you credit for. You're welcome. Now shut up. I need sleep. Emma heard Alexander's quiet laugh in the darkness. It was the first genuine laugh she'd heard from him. It was nice. She fell asleep feeling like maybe, just maybe, they'd turned some corner. Not toward love or romance or anything fairy tale, but towards something more valuable, mutual respect between two survivors trying to build something from the wreckage of their pasts. The next morning, Mikhail's departure was quick and cold. He hugged Lily stiffly, told her to study hard. He shook Emma's hand and said, "You are stronger than you look. You will need this strength." To Alexander, he said only, "Call your father sometimes before I am dead." "Papa, I say what I say." Mikhail climbed into his car. The door closed. He was gone. Alexander stood on the front steps watching until the car disappeared through the gates. Emma stood beside him, Lily between them. "Well," Emma said, "that was intense." "That's one word for it." Alexander looked down at Lily. "You have school in an hour. Go get ready." Lily ran inside. Alexander and Emma remained on the steps. "What happens now?" Emma asked. "Now," Alexander straightened his tie. "Now we go back to our arrangement. Separate rooms, minimal interaction, public performances when necessary. The contract continues as written. And us? What about us? Do we go back to being strangers who happen to share a house? Or do we try to be, I don't know, friends? Allies?" Alexander considered this. "I don't have friends, Emma. I have business associates and employees." "Then maybe it's time you learned, because allies are more useful than enemies, and I'd rather not spend 5 years as your enemy." "Allies, then," Alexander extended his hand formally, "to 5 years of successful alliance." Emma shook his hand. His grip was firm and warm. "To surviving at whatever comes next." They stood like that for a moment, hands clasped, looking at each other with new understanding. They weren't friends. They weren't lovers. They weren't even really married in any meaningful sense, but they were allies. Two people bound by contract and circumstance choosing to make the best of an impossible situation. Emma released his hand and went inside. She had coffee with Priya to look forward to next week, Lily's first parent-teacher conference to attend, and a life to build in the margins of this strange arrangement. 2 weeks later, Emma found a routine. Drop Lily at school, coffee with Priya twice a week, manage household correspondence from her office, pick up Lily, dinner with Alexander 3 nights a week when he was home, separate rooms, polite distance, public performances at the few events Alexander required her to attend. It was working. Not happiness exactly, but function, survival with benefits. Then everything changed again on a Tuesday afternoon. Emma was in her office when Alexander burst in without knocking, his face urgent. "We need to talk, now." Emma looked up from her laptop. "What's wrong?" "Greg escaped custody during a transfer. He's out. And according to my sources, he's headed this direction." Emma's blood turned to ice. "What? He escaped 3 hours ago? Security footage shows him at a gas station 40 miles from here, asking for directions to this address. He's coming for you, Emma, and he's not coming to apologize." Emma stood on a shaking legs. "Lily? We need to get Lily. Security is already bringing her home. She'll be here in 10 minutes. "But Emma," Alexander's face was grave. "Greg knows about our marriage, knows about the debt being cleared, and according to intercepted messages, he blames you for his arrest. He's not rational right now. He's dangerous." For the first time since signing the contract, Emma felt genuine fear. Not for herself, for Lily. What do? We protect our family. Alexander's voice turned cold and hard, the voice of someone who'd grown up surviving. "Greg made his choice. Now I make mine. And trust me, Emma, he's going to regret ever laying eyes on you." Emma believed him, and for the first time since this nightmare started, she was grateful for Alexander Volkov's particular brand of dangerous protection. Because Greg was coming, and Alexander was ready, and Emma was done being a victim. She'd signed a contract that made her a Volkov, and Volkovs, as Mikhail had said, protected what was theirs. Greg was about to learn that the hard way.